Okay, I'm Michael, and we're doing a sidewalk chalk drawing interview here of some Native American cultural important practices. So we have for our interview here, Krish.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And I want to ask you some questions about this. Right here, we've got an oak tree. In California, there's a lot of different species of oak tree, and pretty much all of them were really important to Native American culture and practice and livelihood. So, off the top of your head, do you know of any uses that Native Americans had for oak trees?
I don't know, symbolic, were they containing the spirits of their ancestors or something?
That's a good idea. I don't know about that one. That one shoots over my helmet. I'll have to look into that. But how about any physical uses for it, like any parts of the tree?
For fire or boats?
For fire, definitely. Maybe for boats. I'm not so sure about boats. I don't think they were making a lot of boats out of this type of tree. But for fire, definitely is a good issue. There's a few other uses. So there's one of the main oak trees here in California that a lot of Native Americans use right here. It's called Coast Live Oak. And so we've got a drawing of Coast Live Oak here. And so you mentioned one of the main uses was for wood for fire. And the wood for fire was one use. You'll notice here that there's some acorns hanging from the tree. The acorns had many uses. A lot of the uses for acorns concerned food sources. They used to grind them into a meal, make bread and cake out of them, porridge. Another use, they would actually trade them as a good for other goods like piñon nuts. They would use acorns to bait traps for small animals like squirrel. They would also make jewelry like necklaces out of them. They could be gathered on a cord and swung around to make rhythmic beats for music. Children use them in games like jacks and juggling. And they were also used as a remedy for newborns to stop bleeding from their navel. If you look at the bark, you notice the bark was used. It was a decoction to help treat sores. It was also used as a fuel for fire when they were making pottery. So that's good. That's for the Coast Live Oak. Now we have another oak species to talk about. And sir, if you'll come on over and introduce yourself to the camera.
Hi, my name is G.
G. All right. Thanks for coming on out to us. It's a rainy day here. So another species of oak tree that was widely used was called valley oak. That one too had a lot of uses for Native Americans, especially right here in this general area in California. Do you, off the top of your head, know of any traditional uses maybe they were using this tree for?
To make, small weapons or, for fire, to collect water or something.
That's great. That's great. Yeah, definitely a lot of very similar uses as the other oak tree. Also it was used for fire. The wood as well, other than fire, was used to build houses. The bark was used. They would make a dye out of it and dye their grasses and leaves they would use to weave baskets with. It was also used as a decoction to treat coughs. They would grind the bark down into a powder and also use that to treat sore feet. Galls, which are like little hollow balls that will grow sometimes on these trees, those were also used. They would grind them down and apply them with salt and a wrap over the eyes to treat sore eyes. And they do a similar thing where the bark and the galls and salt, and make a treatment for burns, sores, and cuts. The acorns were also extremely important, just like with the other oak species, for food. Very similarly, they would also make soup out of it. And then the acorn meal they would use to seal pots that were cracked. And the caps of the acorns were used like a top that kids would play with to spin them for games. And so, yeah, oak trees are, for the Native Americans, what's called a cultural keystone species. And that means it's vital to their livelihood and to their culture and their way of life. Without these species of trees, they would be unable to fulfill their life practice. It's also an integral part of the food web. There's many, many other animals that utilize it, not only for food, but shelter, which creates habitat for other animals, like deer to browse on, that also the native people used to hunt. And these are native species to California, so they're very important to the ecosystem and kind of the integrity of it. And these methods that I was talking about as far as how they use the tree and stuff like that, these are considered indigenous science, and they're traditional ecological knowledge that can be passed on for generations and generations. And so I thank you guys for coming on out
Sure,
and participating. Appreciate it, and good luck in the rainy day.
Same to you. Have a
Yeah,
nice day.
you too.